The heartbeat bill is on its way to Governor Mike DeWine's desk after being passed in both the House and Senate. This follows years of fiery debate across local communities as lawmakers have pushed what is deemed one of the most restrictive abortion regulations in the country. Ohio is joining 15 other states that have introduced similar bills regarding abortion. The bill was voted on through the House and Senate, and Governor DeWine has indicated he will sign the bill in an interview with WKYC.
I believe life begins at conception, and I believe that we have an obligation to protect human life. Governor Kasich vetoed the bill. Right. I would have signed the bill.
The name heartbeat bill comes from the key stipulation in the bill that once a fetal heartbeat can be heard, women can no longer have an abortion. Rachel Stroop is the Women's Commissioner for Graduate Student Senate at OU. She's spoken out about the strict wording of the bill.
It gets back to this philosophical question of when does life begin? And that's really hard to answer. Pro-choice advocates like myself don't have that answer. A lot of what that bill is addressing and saying no, life begins with the heartbeat.
Opponents of the bill believe the heartbeat bill is an attempt to completely ban abortions because a fetal heartbeat can be detected between 6 to 8 weeks of pregnancy. And as you can see on this app here, at 6 weeks, the fetus is about the size of a blueberry, and at 7, a raspberry, and 8, a grape. That leaves a very short window for a woman to realize she's pregnant, make the decision to have an abortion, and schedule an appointment at an abortion facility.
It scares me, makes me sad. I don't know.
But why?
It just makes me sad for the woman because it's gonna change so many women's lives and make them so much more difficult.
Maddie LaFlamme is a student at Ohio University. She was inspired to take a stance against the bill after witnessing the hardships her friends suffered through when she got pregnant.
She was just in such shock and was like, I don't know what I'm gonna do. That she didn't go to class for a whole week. She's not here this week because she's at home trying to figure out what to do. Obviously, she'll have to be out of class for a couple weeks after she gives birth, and that would, depending on the professor, that could ruin everything for her.
LaFlamme was saddened by the lack of resources available to her friend. She had to drive 4 hours for an abortion screening in Cleveland because the only clinic in Cincinnati was booked. Currently, there are 9 abortion clinics in the state of Ohio. The emotional difficulties that LaFlamme's friend is going through are part of the reason supporters are pushing the heartbeat bill. Jamison Gordon is the Director of Communications and Marketing for Ohio Right to Life. She believes this bill is an important step towards protecting women from making an irreversible decision.
Not only myself, but also Ohio Right to Life, we believe that life begins at conception. So if you're believing that life begins at conception, abortion at any point would be ending a human life. We've heard many testimonies of women who are sharing their stories of past abortions and the regret that they've felt and how it's not destroyed their lives, but their lives have been really seriously affected.
Gordon is alarmed by the more than 20,000 abortions that happen in Ohio each year and says Ohio Right to Life hopes to eventually eliminate abortion. According to Ohio Right to Life, the heartbeat bill provides the most sensible timeline in deciding when a fetus is viable.
When Roe v. Wade, the decision was handed down, viability was at 24 weeks, and now we're seeing babies who have lived at 21 weeks. And it sort of depends on the medical care that's available to you. Our argument is that the heartbeat is an objective standard. There's either a heartbeat or there isn't a heartbeat. And so we should create, if we're going to limit abortion based on a certain standard, then it should be one that's more firm than viability is.
The organization is supportive of pregnancy centers that offer low-cost parental care and parenting classes, and that connect women in need with shelter and resources to raise a child.
They go to abortion because they feel like they don't have power, and so if you can show them the resources that they have and the support that could be given to them in their community, a lot of times they will choose to parent or they'll choose to make an adoption plan for those reasons.
The other key player in this debate is the National Abortion and Reproductive Rights Action League, or NARA, which has been lobbying against the heartbeat bill in Ohio. Reverend Terry Williams has been working with the organization to push his faith-based pro-choice stance.
For me, knowing that a woman has the right of autonomy over her body and the choices that she has to make for her own health care, that's just a non sequitur. I understand from my faith position that every person has autonomy over their body.
Williams believes abortion is not morally wrong, and he wants to spread that message to the women in his congregation and throughout the nation.
Shaming women out of a religious bent into thinking that they've done something horribly wrong. And that grieves me deeply because I feel powerless. I feel powerless to in any way affect what I already see as a frustrating lack of health care, a frustrating lack of abortion care services.
The bill includes an exemption if a mother's life is at risk, but Williams expressed concern that the bill does not allow for exceptions for rape and incest.
And we're simply banning all of that decision-making without deference to rape or incest and without significant protections for the life of the mother, which I believe to be morally abhorrent.
But we don't include rape and incest exceptions in our bill, and that's merely because there's nowhere else in Ohio law where we differentiate based on the state of someone's conception.
Another main concern Williams has with the bill is that criminalizing abortion would lead to more doctors leaving Ohio.
If this were to pass in the state, not only would it harm the choice that women have, it would harm the preparation that many of our doctors go through in this state. They would not have access to a great deal of resources that other states could provide. And for me, that's frightening in Appalachia because we're already facing a real shortage of OBGYNs.
The bill criminalizes doctors performing an abortion once a heartbeat is detected with a 5th-degree felony charge, punishable by up to 1 year in prison. But Gordon is not concerned.
Doctors are always being held to a certain code, and they have to uphold certain standards and abide by certain laws based on what the medical board puts them through or what laws have been passed by the General Assembly. So I think that in general they have to be very careful across all practices about what they do, and I think that this would be no exception.
It's likely the legality of these heartbeat bills challenged in the Supreme Court, which would in turn challenge Roe v. Wade, the landmark 1973 case that gave women total autonomy over their pregnancy.
Much like other things that are criminalized, the franchise is going to go underground, right? It's not going to obliterate abortion. That's not what it's going to do at all. Abortions have always happened since the beginning of time, and it will continue to happen. But we need to make sure that these are safe so that women receive safe treatment for them.